Welcome back, 7:43 now. Unemployment benefits continue to be a major issue across our region, from furloughs to your own workplace benefits to issues filing for unemployment. You've probably had some questions about it all. Daniel Kalish, a managing partner with HKM Employment Attorneys, joins us live this morning to answer some of your unemployment questions. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for talking with us. So, Dan, I know you guys started a hotline for workers who have unemployment questions right now and worker protection questions and all of this. What are some of the most common asks that you've been getting from people?
I think at this point, at first, the most common questions we had were questions about I've been terminated, what do I do? Now it's sort of the opposite in the sense of they want me to come back to work. What do I do? And I think one of the main issues we're getting is that there are a lot of people who are immunocompromised. They have some autoimmune disorder that makes them incredibly susceptible to coronavirus. And they're very concerned about having to go back into work and either getting it for themselves, or maybe they live with a family member and they have a lot of questions about what they can do. Do they have to go back to work and those sort of things?
Yeah, I think broaching that healthcare topic with an employer is uncomfortable on a good day, and you add in the stress of this pandemic and this whole kind of new uncharted territory for a lot of people, and that's got to be difficult. So, what situations or when do you think people might need to look at seeking legal advice? Are there circumstances or things that should be raising a red flag for people right now?
Yeah, I mean, part of the problem is that businesses are, so when they do reopen, they are supposed to be reasonable in what they do to ensure that employees are protected. Proper PPE, proper social distancing guidelines, allowing people to work from home if they actually can. And to the extent what we are seeing a lot is that some employees are saying to their employer, look, you have to abide by these guidelines, and then getting retaliated against. And I do think once an employee gets retaliated against an employer just for bringing up the various issues, at that point they may have legal rights and they should talk to an attorney, I think, at that time.
Whether they're concerned about workplace protections or they feel that they are owed certain unemployment or that there's compensation that they're missing. Do we have current law in place that does protect workers in the pandemic, or is this a new gray area that the law is going to need to catch up to?
That's a great question. It's a new gray area. And that's why it's been super challenging, I think, for employees and, quite frankly, for employers. There aren't a lot of laws that specifically address the rights of employees during this pandemic. There are existing laws that exist that you kind of have to put this into, and it's a little unclear how it's going to be interpreted. And one example is if somebody does have autoimmune disorder and they actually can't go into work because getting coronavirus for them could be incredibly harmful, if not fatal. Uh, you have to look at the existing protections, and the main one is sort of the disability laws, because usually people will have an autoimmune disorder from a disability, whether it's diabetes, lupus, asthma, et cetera. And if that's the case, then they are entitled to reasonable accommodation. And in some circumstances, not all, the reasonable accommodation would be working from home, if that was even possible,
Yeah.
considering what the employee's job is.
Sure. I know it's so tough because everyone's circumstances are just a little different. So if workers are finding themselves in these situations where they feel they're being asked to do something that's unsafe, how do they go about addressing that? What steps should they be taking?
Right. The first thing I think employees should do is first just raise it with the employer, and try to explain to the employers that this is not appropriate. This is putting people at risk. This is dangerous. This could even cause liability to the employer. It could be phrased that way, is that if people get coronavirus as a result of negligence of the employer, it's possible that employees would have a rights against the company. So I think if you phrase it in a way that you're trying to help the company, hopefully that will go far. If that still doesn't work, you can try contacting the Attorney General's Office of Oregon. Unclear how much they're going to do because they are getting swamped with calls of people complaining about the fact that businesses aren't abiding by some of the social distancing, some of the PPE, some of the sanitation guidelines that they're supposed to follow.
Yeah. Well, Dan, we appreciate the advice this morning. I know you guys at HKM and Employment Attorneys have a lot of resources on your website as well. So we'll be sure to post a link to that hotline and some of those already answered questions if people want to go learn more. We appreciate it. Stay safe.
Thank you so much. You too.